What is up, everybody? You got me. You got at Luque, Betya right below me, and that means you're done with work, baby. You ain't got shit to do. It is time for Monk and Lou's happy hour. Let's get into the fight frame of mind and take down some tournaments and make some good bets this weekend. Lou, how's it going? How are you doing? Are you excited for the card, UFC Vegas 51?
I am now. I don't know if I was by Wednesday, but yeah, as the spots are coming together, it's interesting. And what better way to spend 5:30 p.m. on a Saturday Eastern than go watch fights, which is such a strange time to have these fights. It's so weird.
Yeah, right. Very
But
interesting.
yeah,
but hey,
let's get it.
Absolutely, man. I'm super excited for these fights. It's not, it's no UFC 273, but there are some serious fights on this card that I'm really looking forward to. Real quick, shout out to the MMA Engine. We are killing it lately. Got a couple of shows tonight, so we will try to keep this one short and sweet, about an hour 15 minutes for 14 fights. And then you can find Brady right after this at 7 or 8 Eastern. I don't know what time. I don't remember what it is on the East Coast, but just stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. And we got MMA content coming to you all weekend long as usual. So without further ado, I got nothing else. Let's get right into it, guys. Kevin Kroom, as you can see on the screen, going against Haile Alateng. Lou, what do you got for this one?
What a start to the card.
Absolutely. Fireballs right off the bat.
I'll keep this one quick in the interest of, we got a lot of fights today. So, I don't know about Alateng. He could wrestle, but he chooses not to. And Kroom does not like when people wrestle him because he just plops down. Kroom's going to have the reach advantage. I think he could keep him at distance, but Alateng's pretty tough. And Kroom's proven pretty durable too. So only bet I'm going to play on this is fight goes the distance at -135. I feel like it's safe. I don't see a finish here. If you want a nice little bonus bet, I believe fight to end in a split was +450. But I don't want to get heavily invested in this one. I'm, even being a degenerate gambler, one bet feels way too much for this one. But fight goes, root for boring, and start your fight night off right with a nice decision victory for somebody.
Exactly. And did you say split was plus 450? That's it? What are we doing here?
That's about like a standard, anywhere between like 400 and 500. I'm looking it up right now.
About 6 maybe. So I must have just been thinking of that line you gave out last week. I forget which fight it was, the split for something crazy.
It was Ian Gary and Darian Weeks. Well, yeah. I had Weeks plus 2,800 with the split, plus 500 for the split in the Alateng Kroom fight. I should mention, by the way, another reason the split is in play is Alateng's coming off a point deduction. He did come off a draw. Now, the odds of having 2 draws in a row, well, really doesn't matter, but you would think he'd learn not to grab the cage over and over again. And maybe it won't be Keith Peterson where he gets 6 warnings. Maybe he'll just be like, dude, no.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Bad Haile. So yeah, DraftKings, I'm the same thing, man. My stance on the $8,800 salary, and we got 2 of them this week, which is, I guess good or bad depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I'm going to be fading Alateng. There's no way he pays the salary off, right? He scores 2 points a minute, 75 on average over his 2 wins. Kevin Kroom does give up 3.9 points per minute, but only 90 when he wins, which speaks to what you said about his durability and toughness. He is difficult to finish. In the UFC anyways. He's never been finished in the UFC as of yet. Has been finished a few times professionally. But Haile Alateng also no finishes in the UFC. So yeah, both these guys' stats are less than optimal. Kevin Kroom's strength of schedule is absolute trash. Alateng's is not very good. You want these numbers, if you can see them, to be around 70 to 75. That's a normal, decent strength of schedule. Kevin Kroom's in the 50s, 46 strength of victory, meaning the guys he's beaten in his last 5 are absolute trash for the most part as far as their records go. So yeah, give me no Alateng in DraftKings, and I guess maybe a little bit of Kevin Kroom. I'm not really sure why exactly, but in case you need a little salary relief, 7,400 is not the worst spot you could pick. But there are probably some better options than Kevin Kroom out there. But he could end up with a win over Haile Altang. And if you win at that low salary, you could make your chances of making the optimal lineup are much higher. So anyway, Sam Hughes going against Estela Nunes. I'll go ahead and start this one off. It'll be short and sweet. Estela Nunes, 8,900. She is 0-1. Sam Hughes, 0-3. So one of these women is going to have to win this fight, whether they like it or not. Nunes, 2.47 points per minute in her first UFC fight. Her opponent scored 105 on her when she lost in the third round, I believe. Carnelossi via submission. Sam Hughes, I mean, nothing really to say about her. 2.17 points a minute. Like I said, no wins. She is 7,300. I will not be looking at Sam Hughes for salary relief this week. So neither one of these women, unfortunately, is really going to be worth it to roster. I mean, their value is Nunes has the best value out of the two, and it's 4. I mean, 4x basically. Even at 10x, 8,900, you're not going to make the optimal most likely this week with 89 points, 10xing Estela Nunes. So even though I don't see that happening, I'm not going to play any of this fight. What do you got on this one? I'm sure you have bets abound for this slobber knocker at
not
straw.
One. I have not
one.
I have not.
Is this a gambler fight? 1-800.
This is not. Do we have that up? Can I?
I don't think so. Hey guys, just pretend that you see a 1-800 gambler fucking thing.
Damn it! I thought we had that.
Oh yeah, anyway. Does it carry over? That'd be great.
Anyway, we'll have to have Brady make that. We'll outsource it.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't bet Sam Hughes under any circumstances. Estela Nunes came off a long layoff against Carnelossi, so I'll forgive. And I think Carnelossi is really strong, so I'll forgive some of that. But yeah, I mean, Nunes' decision is -110. If you have to play it, I guess. But like, yeah, no. I just there's nothing on this fight that intrigues me at all. I mean, even like the fight goes is out of hand. So I mean,
the lock for this one is don't bet this one.
And like if you have to bet it because you love gambling and it's the second fight, Nunes' decision -110 isn't unreasonable. And he really just betting against Sam Hughes here. But let's next.
Hey, I'm right there. Let's next it. What was that? An MTV2 show for all you fucking 30-year-olds out there?
All I know is Wonder Chosen. That's as far as my MTV2 knowledge goes. Which is by the way, not a kid show. Not a kid show.
Nope.
Ruttor's asking if there's a live bet here, by the way.
Where, on the last fight or in this one?
On this one. And I'm wondering, like, I would say this. The only way that live bet seems in play here is if Hughes can get the wrestling going at all. She hasn't shown like she can, but if she can get the wrestling going and that line will tighten. If the first round is just Nunes punching her and it's on its feet, there's nothing that indicates you'd want to take Hughes at like a bigger number. And then the Nunes line has gotten away from you. So I'd say if Sam Page has any kind of success, or even if she's just winning the clinch wars, maybe, but yeah, just get drunk.
Yeah, exactly. She does not, make sure you don't burn your pizza. You'll be able to watch it cook the whole time during this fight. 0-3 takedowns in her career, Sam Hughes. So nothing to speak of. Does have decent control time, 2-to-1 ratio over her opponent. So that is, lines up with just what you said there. Jordan Levitt, the Monkey King, going against Trey Ogden. I don't have any stats for this fight. Trey Ogden is the favorite coming in as the UFC debutant, $8,300 going against Jordan Levitt, $7,900. Pretty much anyone in a Jordan Levitt fight is gonna have the striking advantage, and that is no different here. Supposedly, Trey Ogden also has a decent wrestling game, and obviously, from the one stat that I do have, 11 submission wins. He has a decent ground game as well. Has also been subbed 3 times. Now, Jordan Levitt, that's pretty much his one and only win condition. Somehow he has a knockout win in the UFC. I just want to look at that to make sure I know who to make fun of. Okay, Matt Wyman makes a lot of sense there. But 6 submission wins from Jordan Levitt. I guess I'm going to play the upside of Jordan Levitt here. 3.5 points a minute, which is the 5th highest on the card. 103 points when he wins, guys. But I believe that was all that Matt Wyman fight, 120. He only scored 86 against Matt Sales.
Spiked him.
Yeah, he absolutely did. That's right. I remember that now that you said that. Wow. But Jordan Levitt could be a better cash play than GPP this week when he did lose. I'm sorry for scrolling so much around on you, Claudio Puelles. 56.98 points is what he ended up with. So a very high floor for Jordan Levitt in that one fight. Like I said, I don't know much about Trey Ogden, so I will probably be rostering him a little bit for the finish upside because I think he's a bit better than Jordan Levitt, especially on the feet. But I really am interested to what you have to say because I'll be taking what you have to say more than what I'm thinking for gospel here.
So I'm on the Ogden side, but I want to explain. So I was on Levitt big last time, but really it was a fade on Sales. There were so many red flags with Sales, his weight gain, the injury layoff.
Yep.
But like, here's the one thing that I really noticed from that fight. When it hit the ground in both rounds, Levitt wasn't spamming takedowns or proactively going for it. He was standing up and then like kind of they fell into takedowns. And once it, hit the ground, like, I don't know, like Levitt was better, but I didn't think it was anything extreme. Like he didn't proactively go for it. Now, Ogden has a proclivity to get subbed, but I don't know. Like he's way better on the feet, the strike, and he's coached by everybody's internet darling James Krause. So
yeah, yep.
I assume the game plan is going to be good. So I targeted this. I have fight doesn't go the distance at minus 150, and I have it to end in a sub at plus 130. I think Levitt's winning condition is the sub. I think if Ogden can keep it on the feet, that knockout, I know Levitt's not been knocked out, but the knockout's in play. I also have Ogden round 3 at plus 1,300. I feel that I've had questions about Levitt's cardio from the jump. He looked awful against Puelas.
Absolutely.
Or as Weezy calls him, Puelas.
Claudio Puelas.
So I'm on the Ogden side here. And, sizably, I think Levitt is very limited in the way he fights. And I think Ogden can keep it. I think even if it goes to the ground, it's all right. But on the feet, Ogden is just all day here. So
yeah, I think I agree, man. This one probably ends in decision. Unfortunately, you're going to have to target both sides of it. But good thing they are kind of, closely aligned at the $7,900 and $8,300 salary. Next fight, and of course, I did the thing that I always did, so I have to do this twice. Chris Barnett going against Martin Buday. I've been calling him Buday all week. I don't know which one's right, so I'm going to go with Buday and try to even it out. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? Heavyweight fight, our first one of the night here.
So my friend in real life, Martin Buday, weighs like 145 pounds. He's like
bizarro
dude.
Martin Buday.
On the scales, I went back today and I watched the ceremonials and everything. And, Phoenix was talking about this earlier today on our show. Man, Buday looks so big. This dude, it looks huge. There'll be spots to fade Buday. This is not one of them. Barnett's limited. I hate betting against him. He's fun to watch, but Barnett's going to have a quick disadvantage. That's about it. I think Buday is going to grind him against the cage the first 5 minutes. I think he's going to get him out of there in the second. So I have in the distance at minus 165 just to be safe. I have a round 2 play at plus 425. And then to get a little saucier, I like the round 2 submission at plus 2,200 for Buday. He only has one sub, and while I don't think I don't want to say he's just like Ben Rothwell. I think there's a lot of comparisons in this fight to how the Rothwell one went in terms of Buday could just lay on him and sap Barnett's limited cardio like immediately. And that sub, anytime you're a fatigued fighter, man, even if it's a club and sub, it's there. Like if he's just laying on him for a round and a half, 2 rounds, that sub's live. So tread lightly on that round 2 play. It's a plus 2,200 prop, but it's no Kyler Phillips round 3. But it'll have to do. And
I like it.
I just see one. I don't see any other. If this fight gets out of the second,
Buday's in trouble.
I mean, who knows? Well, who knows at that point? Like, if it gets out of the second, this might be like Kimbo and Dada just like winging bombs from 3 feet away, and then one of them falls over. Like, if it gets to the third, it's going to be hilarious, but it won't be good. You're not going to be comfortable with either side of the ticket. You're muted, Chief.
Of course. I agree with Kristen's. I have to do that at least once a show, guys, no matter whose channel I'm on. Always got to go muted. I love Kristen's view here. I also love Chris Barnett, but I just don't know, especially in DraftKings. I mean, 7,200 is an easy salary to get to, but Martin Buday at 9,000 is pretty decent as well. I mean, in his DraftKings fight, or DraftKings. Dana White Contender Series fight, 7.26 points a minute is what he ended up scoring, only allowing 1.05. I know we have a highly different caliber opponent here, but Boudet also, I mean, he would have scored 125 in that first round victory, and that's exactly, I think, what he has to do here against Chris Barnett. Barnett has been knocked out and subbed, or knocked out 3 times, TKO'd, and subbed once in his professional career, so he can be finished. Just have a very small sample size for Boudet. This is one I just feel like you're going to have to play probably pretty heavy on both sides. Like Lou says, I do not think this one goes to decision. In fact, I think it's one of the highest line fights to finish inside the distance. But yeah, I have pretty much no numbers for Boudet, all striking. That's it, striking, knockdown. He did actually have a ton of control time points per minute, 1.34. And Barnett does allow a few of those as well. So if Boudet can get Barnett down here, I mean, the size differential too, 6'4" to 5'9". If those are accurate, that's a ridiculous height advantage for Boudet.
He looked massive. Like he just looked.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. And 3-inch reach also. Like I think Barnett's just going to struggle with this one. The longer it goes, the more I will second guess what I just said. But for now, put Boudet in your lineups. I'll have a decent exposure to him. Probably a little bit of Chris Barnett as well for some salary relief if I don't decide to play Boudet in a lineup here or there. But I'll be having a bunch of Boudet for sure in DraftKings. Next fight, Rafa Garcia going against Jesse Ronson. What do you think about this one, Lou? Do you have a read on the body snatcher or Rafa Garcia here?
I think you should lead this one off.
Okay, I was wondering. I was trying to read your face, and you were poker facing me, so I couldn't really tell. Rafa Garcia for DraftKings, that's going to be the side that I'm on. As far as betting, I have no idea. It could go either way because you never know what you're going to get with Rafa Garcia. But as far as DraftKings go, he does score 3.42 points per minute, 93 when he wins. So he's putting up pretty decent numbers. I mean, 6th best, respectively, on the card this week, giving up 2.93, which is a bit worrisome, but only allowing 77 across his 2 losses on average. So you're paying up only $200 for Rafa Garcia. And what I like about him the most is 1.33 takedown points per minute. That is the highest number on the entire card. Also gets half a point per minute in control time. Jesse Ronson, so far in his 0-3 UFC career with 1 no contest that he did dominate, but unfortunately for him, popped for an anabolic steroid. So it is ruled a no contest. He has allowed 1.26 takedown points per minute and 0.68 control time points a minute. Look, I know the narrative is Rafa can't hold anyone down. And if you can see right here, I mean, his hold down time, 62 seconds, which is very short, 66th out of 85 lightweights in my database. And Jesse Ronson so far, a decently quick get up time, 90 seconds. That is 21st out of 85 lightweights. So, I mean, that narrative is there for a reason, but that could also work in our favor on DraftKings. If Rafa Garcia is able to keep his cardio in check and Ronson is able to not stuff some of these takedowns and Garcia is able to allow or to get him in the 2nd and 3rd round continuously, I think Garcia's ceiling is almost unlimited here. But if Ronson is able to stuff a couple of those takedowns, Garcia starts to get gas. I am going to be pretty worried at that point. But for now, give me the upside of Garcia. I have no upside for Ronson. Garcia never been finished in his career, so I'm just pretty much disregarding Ronson and DraftKings. Maybe a lineup or 2 here or there, but nothing crazy. Love the upside of Garcia. What do you got, Lou?
This didn't go as well as I thought with the headphones. I just want to let you know that.
You have a wheel of cheese on your head.
It does. It's the Wisconsin section of Mexico. So all this being said, with the prop, I'm going with Jesse Ronson, which I guess negates this whole
I was going to say, you got the hat and you're picking the body snatcher.
So Garcia, to me, his cardio is just so crappy, and I can never forgive him from the Gritzmacher fight. Ronson has really deceiving strength, and he has all right takedown defense, but I think he's going to be the stronger fighter here. And I think he can, thanks, Wheezy. I think that he can sap all the strength of Garcia in the 1st round and take over and keep this on its feet for the 2nd and 3rd. So I got to take this off because it's really hard to, well, no, I can just do it this way. So I have Ronson at -120 as a play. I have the round 3 decision play at prop at 165, and I took a flyer on round 3 at plus 1400, which I kind of like.
True,
This
because
hat's
if he's
gonna,
zapped at that point,
yeah,
you
and this
know.
is now like falling off my head, but
Does it say Jose Cuervo on it?
it did in fact say Jose Cuervo on it.
You can't get anything past me. Hey, Chuck Mindenhall, you better watch the fuck out, dude.
Shout out to Larson and Slam Pig for we have a set of those hats over there. But
Nice.
yeah, I just think the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Ronson. And speaking of live betting spots, if Garcia does have a lot of success in the first with takedowns, but is not landing damage, and I don't think, and he doesn't seem to be a guy that lands a ton of damage.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets him down a lot in the first round, you know, Ronson might be as much as plus 250 after round 1. So I would say if you feel that he hasn't been damaged, it might be worth a look. Garcia's best window is that, and he's not a finisher. So,
Right.
So I think Ronson, as the fight goes on, the round 3 decision prop to me is the one I like the most at plus 165. Garcia's never been finished. He's tough, but he's also like, he's showing just huge liabilities with his cardio. And I think Ronson, despite the red flags on Ronson with the suspension and his time off, like just everything about him, he's a way better fighter here. And I think if like, he had been fighting a regular schedule, he'd be minus 250 right now.
Do you think he has any chance of finishing Garcia early? Because I am way,
no.
Because I am way different of how I would bet this. I'm on your side completely compared to how I'm playing this in DraftKings. Because while I do think Ronson could easily get a win here, if it doesn't come early, we're not going to get a ton of points. I don't think so.
I don't think he's a good point scorer. I mean, and this is the problem. There's a couple of fights in this card. Like, you know, I'm not no DFS guy. You know that. I'm no pro here. There are a couple of fights in this card where, like, when I've been constructing my lineups, where the guy I like to win, like I think I was talking to my buddy
Fialo later, maybe.
Like Garcia could, like if Garcia has a really, really good first round, like Kutayaba versus Jacoby-esque, he could outscore Ronson if Ronson wins a decision. Like he would need an incredibly good first round. I know it's rare, but like, yeah, Ronson, even with a late finish, I guess Ronson doesn't really get, was he 8,200, right? 8,000.
He's 8,000. Yeah.
Yeah. He would need, I mean, unless his volume is insane late, which it could be, which I've seen on his tape, he has it. I don't know. It'd be tough to get him as a 10X. Yep. I think. But
agreed.
But I like the side. So
yeah, same there.
Despite the hat.
Despite the hat. I'll go with the hat for DraftKings. Just a little bit of more upside for Garcia, in my opinion. But just DraftKings. Next fight, Drakkar Klose, whom Lou has been telling. Actually, I'll just let you tell him. Going against Brandon Jenkins. You were telling me an interesting little piece because I did miss the weigh-ins. I have not watched them yet. Klose did not look great. You told me.
So from a medical perspective, I thought he looked like shit. He just like his body, like so all week he's been talking about, oh, you know, I haven't felt good since Jeremy Stevens pushed me.
Which, if that's true, that's, you know, nothing to be made fun of, but it's a fucking problem.
Right, but it also, I saw it so much this week. I'm like, man, this has got to be a red herring because the numbers just because the more he talked, the higher the money line got. I'm like, all right, there's something weird going on here.
Yeah,
he looked terrible today, and look, he's not a big finisher as it is. So on the earlier show I did today with Gordo and Phoenix, Gordo found what I think is a great way to bet this fight because there's no reason to parlay Klose at this. Like you're never gonna get anywhere with parlaying a minus 800 guy.
No,
he has Jenkins no scorecards. I believe it was plus 410 on FanDuel. I think it's like plus 350 on. I have to look what it is on DraftKings, but I know it's plus 400 something on FanDuel. But I love that bet because I feel like if Drakkar Klose wins, he's winning by a decision. Like that's just how he wins fights. And Jenkins, I mean, look, the guy's insane. He's a wild man. He throws he throws knees up the middle. Like he just throws crazy shit to get you out of there. So I like the safety of the scorecard of the no scorecards play, but then also because come on, how much fun is just doing that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The KO's 900 on DraftKings. I think it's 11. It is Leroy Jenkins. He's plus 1,100 on FanDuel, I believe. His round 1 knockout is plus 2,500. I mean, if you feel like really going for it, I don't know that Jakar Close kind of, I mean, and Dariush rocked him. Like, I mean,
I was
it's not like
just thinking that
his chin's not awesome. So, but Jenkins also, what I haven't factored in here yet is that Jenkins is not good. He's just not a very good fighter. But if it stays standing, this is the kind of thing where everything, Close is going through, this is weird. And I think, like I said, if it goes to the decision, there's no way Jenkins won the fight. And if there's a finish, it's probably on the Jenkins side. So grab the plus money with him, and like just with no judges.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that a lot because I agree. I mean, looking like he did, like as you're describing on the scales and everything that's been going down with his neck and everything, I just don't like that play at all. As far as DraftKings, this guy that we're talking about, Jakar, is $9,400. He's the most expensive salaried fighter on the card. There's no way I'm going to be getting to more than 5% of this guy, if that. He's not a good scorer overall. 78 points per win. That's over 5 wins. So very low average. Like Lou said, decision machine pretty much. 6 of his 7 UFC fights have all gone to decision, in which he is 5-1, but still 78 points per win. That is not going to get you there. Oh, and by the way, his average salary is $8,143. You're paying $1,257 more than that this week. I'm not paying up $1,300 for Jakar Close and 79 points per win. Brandon Jenkins in his one UFC fight scored only 1.83 points per minute in just under 15 minutes and gave up 7 points a minute. Jakar Close is just not that volume type of guy. What does he even throw in here? Let's go to some real stats. He's landing 3.89 points per minute, which is just about average for the division. So nothing crazy. He is landing takedowns and control time, 52 or 0.52 points a minute and 0.41 points in takedowns and control time per minute, respectively, while Jenkins did nothing but give up points in that first fight from absolutely every aspect of MMA. It's just not even close. Tons of points there. That said, I'm probably not going to be, I guess I'm going to have to roster a little bit of Jenkins, although I really don't want to, for exactly what Lou said, the unexpected of Jakar Close. Jenkins could come out. How awesome would that be if that round 1 comes out and cashes? You also would cash huge in DraftKings. Pretty much if Jenkins wins, he's going to make the optimal lineup. So Jakar Close, give me pretty much 0 of him and give me a little bit of a sprinkle on Brandon Jenkins.
We were talking before the show how shocked I was at what you have Close's projected ownership to be.
Oh yeah, I was thinking
insanity. Like
yeah, I was thinking it would 15. Be about 30.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just because people love the high salary, obviously they're supposed to win. But if you don't do your homework, I mean, just like Nunes, just like every 96 night, Ankalaev when he fought, everybody is just playing these guys without any real reason. So there's gonna be some leverage there. Especially, I just don't think Close has basically 0 chance of making the optimal lineup. So I won't be rostering. And in fact, we did check what his ownership was. It's around 35% currently. So absolutely insane. Next fight, Pannie Kianza going against the return of Lena Landsberg. I'll go ahead and start this one off quickly because I am not playing either sides. Long story short, 9,100 for Kianza is crazy. She's almost 1,100 over her average salary, scoring 2.66 points per minute and only 75 when she wins. That's over 4 wins. Does not have a UFC finish up to this point. Lena Landsberg, 7,100. I might get to her a little bit. Kianza, I probably won't be getting to her at all. I'd rather pay up $100 for Sabatini or down $100 for Budai. But Landsberg 7,100, there could be a little bit of a glimmer there, although she is 40 years old. What else? Oh yeah, hasn't fought in almost 2 years and 3 months. That's the other big thing. $500 less than her average salary. Scored only 2.44 points a minute and only 79 when she won over her 4 wins. But that's more than Pannie Kianza is scoring right now. Kianza, not much of a takedown control time. That's where I really look to gain an advantage here. If the takedown and control time points per minute are way up and their opponents are allowing a ton like Lena Landsberg is here, then I'll really kind of focus on Kianza. But she has not put up anything as far as takedown and control time for the most part. She is mostly a striker, as is, I was going to say as is Landsberg, but only in the clinch. She will be looking to clinch up Kianza, which could really limit the scoring upside, if there is any, of Pannie in this fight. So long story short, give me pretty much 0 Pannie. in this one, unless you think she's going to get some kind of early finish, and you could change my mind a little bit. I don't like her at all for DraftKings. Lena Landsberg, give me a couple of percentage points of her, but nothing crazy. Mostly just for salary relief. Lou, what do you think for this absolute haymaker of a fight we got here?
Pass.
Burner maybe is the word I should have used.
Pass.
Big pass.
I mean, Kianza is. I know she finished her in like 1984 or whenever they fought.
That was like right after like the wall fell or something.
But even her decision's minus 200. I don't see a lot of value like anyway here. And I don't understand why Landsberg's even coming back. I mean, she's not going to make like a run to the title. So this is a cash grab. I got nothing. I had no interest in this fight. Let's move on. Like nothing. Don't bet it. Not interested.
Do you think the only question I'll ask, do you think it finishes?
No. Well, how many rounds is the fight?
I think it's 3. I think it's still 3.
Then no.
Okay.
If it was 21 rounds, maybe.
Old school boxing.
I would like Panny in the 18th. But not in a 3-round fight.
No, I agree. Yeah, I can't play that at all. William Knight going against Devin Clark. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? This one's at heavyweight. William Knight did fight at heavyweight in his last fight because he cannot make light heavyweight. Not sure why he's even trying. Devin Clark has been at light heavyweight for most of his career, maybe all of it, and has moved up to heavyweight. So where are you standing on this one?
Would you agree that this is like a ridiculously nonsensical fight?
Yes, 100%.
If a fight is ridiculous and nonsensical, do you think that I'm interested?
Absolutely.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks.
Oh, no.
But I think it's time to bring back the Yam Bag Special.
Let's go.
That's right. Yam Bags for all. If you are new to the show, that means I am rooting for somebody to get kicked in the balls and get a point deduction. It pays 20-1 on DraftKings, and I'm here for it. This fight has there's nothing that makes sense about this fight. I don't know why it's at heavyweight. William Knight weighed like 30. I think he was 30 pounds heavier than him today.
Now, what did he weigh in at?
251. I don't know, but I like
5'10".
So I like the Yam Bag Special. Yeah, Larson, we're going to be rooting for just nonsense in this fight. I love the Yam Bag Special because it just seems like the kind of fight somebody's going to do something so wrong. But that leads to my second play, the draw at 50-1. And before you laugh at it, there's 2 ways the draw can happen. There's a point deduction, which can lead to a draw, or Knight could 10-8 him. He could just be way bigger. He could have a great first round. He could 10-8 him and crush him. Clark has shown he could take a ton of punishment. Took a ton against Kudiyaba. I still hear his dad like screaming and yelling. Like, I don't know. I would throw a towel in. I don't know why he didn't. But
he's probably wrapped up his teeth with it. That's why.
It's wild. So, but could Clark, I mean, Knight's cardio is not like anything to write home about. Could Clark take over and win 2 10-9s? Could.
Absolutely.
Because for me to bet aside I'd lean Knight, I guess. But like Clark doesn't do anything special except take punishment. He's very good at taking punishment. And I could see Knight early and then Clark taking over late. If you like Knight, you take Knight in the distance. I think his knockout was like plus 350. If you like Clark, you play him decision. But I'm just going to go a little weird on this one and take the draw because it's the outcome. I don't know if it's the outcome we need. It feels like the outcome we deserve.
I 100% agree. That would be amazing. William Knight, if he gets to the end of the third, my goodness, his barrel chest is just going to just poking out, man. I cannot believe he's going to have the cardio to even go 3 rounds. You know what I mean? William Knight, 7,600 might be the side I'm going to end up on, though, as far as DraftKings. He's going to be that's a decent salary to play. 2.53 points per minute is all he scores, 90 points in a win. But he has put up, I believe, let's go ahead and check. Yeah, he did put up 105 over, I guess, Fabio Cherant. So Devin Clark, everyone's pretty much better than Fabio Cherant. Devin Clark, Is a decent scorer, has a decent pace, but he's not out here finishing fights. He has no UFC finishes and has been finished 5 times. Opponents scoring 103 points average per loss. So, I'm kind of agreeing with you there. This one, I mean, it's either going to be William Knight just smashing Clark pretty quickly, I imagine, or Clark by decision. So that means I'm going to have much less Clark than Knight. So give me a little bit of Knight. Clark, I got to play a little for the 86. I love the $8,600 salary, but this week might not be such a good look. He does score, like I said, 3.85 points per minute, but does not end up decent with a decent score, and he wins only 94.36. Does allow a decent amount of takedown and control time points, and surprisingly, William Knight does score 0.63 points per minute via takedowns and 0.3 points a minute via control time. So I guess you're going to have to roster a little bit. This is not one I'm going to go all in on. There's a few, 2 or 3 other fights I'll have much more exposure to than this one, but I will have a bit of both sides here, probably with a little bit more of William Knight for the win condition being, a knockout, basically. Next fight, we got a replacement fight for Munir Lazzez since Alessio dos Santos. Zaleski dos Santos. You know who the hell I'm talking about. Dropped out. Anže Lusa going up.
Bert. Bert.
Yeah, I know. Forgive me, Bert.
Just wait till we get to Gadzhi.
Yeah, I'm just going to call him Gadzhi probably. I already got dragged for my pronunciation. So, you know what? Fuck it. We'll do it again. Munir Lazzez going against Anže Lusa. This one, I'll go first. This one's going to be very short for me. 8,800. Munir Lazzez not playing this fight at all. He has scored well, 4.16 points a minute, 101 when he won, but he gave up 116 when he lost. I just don't think he is anywhere near worth the $8,800 salary that DraftKings has put on him here. I'm going to be all over the dog, Lusa. 7,400. Don't like that salary a ton either, but I do like the upside that he has shown, especially his game against Lazzez. So give me pretty much 0 Lazzez and a little bit of Lusa sprinkled in there, maybe 10, 15% for the upside. Plus, I'm really excited to see what he can do. He looked decent against Jack Della Maddalena, so I think it's good things coming for Lusa against Munir Lazzez. Do you agree with me, or what do you think for this one?
I do agree with you.
Yes.
I'm playing this fight 2 ways. The safest way I'm playing this is fight goes the distance is minus 150. Lazzez is not a finisher.
Nope.
And even Lusa in his regional stuff, Lusa is not a big finisher here. But I think he's in a better camp. He's been more. I mean, he just fought. Was it last week? I mean, he didn't take a lot.
Yeah,
didn't take much damage last week. The last time he fought, I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago or last week, but I like what I see. I don't think there's nothing incredibly special about him, but I don't think there's anything incredibly special about Lazzez. And I think a lot of Lazzez's reputation is off beating Wheezy's favorite fighter of all time, Al-Hassan.
Al-Hassan, I was going to say Abdul Razak.
And exposing that he was just a fraud that could only... And Al-Hassan crushed him a bunch of times, and Lazzez didn't go anywhere and then took over the fight. And but I don't think the reason I hesitate, the reason I'm taking fight goes and Lusa here is that Lazzez is a point fighter who is a minute winner. He attempts to fight that style. So you still have a guy coming in on short notice. So you have to take all these things into consideration. There's no way I feel like this fight's going to finish. Just neither one seems to fight that style. And I think Lazzez should not be minus 200 or whatever over anybody on the roster. If I'm
absolutely not.
So I'll take the dog shot here, even on short notice. Also, I just like his name. Anže Lusa is
it's fun to say.
It's like a train stop, like from Parsippany, New Jersey. Between that and Trenton, you're stopping at Anže Lusa.
Stop at Anže Lusa for some
There's a mall right off of exit 12.
What do you guys eat over there? Fucking spaghetti with chili on it?
Sbarro's Pizza. It's just Sbarro's all over the malls over there.
The best kind of pizza.
Yeah.
Well, on that Sbarro's, and thank you, Sbarro's. We know you're listening, and we would appreciate that sponsorship. Please reach back out to us. I know you got my email.
Yeah.
Pat Sabatini.
Jimmy's John's.
That's right. Jimmy's John's this week. Pat Sabatini going against TJ Laramie. Why don't you go ahead and start this one off? I assume, well, actually, no, I don't assume I know what you're going to do.
Well, I had a really fun, spirited conversation earlier about this fight on a show with 2 Canadians. So you can imagine that I got 2 Canadians versus a guy on their show from Philly. So so the picks were pretty obvious. They tried to make some compelling points for Laramie, and I think I had it muted. But
Shut them down. Shut them down.
so Laramie, well, one thing is crazy is that Sabatini opened at about minus 240, 250. I mean, and this thing got steamed like immediately. Now Sabatini's in my opinion, he's the rightful favorite, but I think this one's simple. I didn't like what I saw from Laramie against Minner, although I'm willing to kind of forgive it. I mean, he just fell into submission in the first minute of the fight. But what I don't like is that he hasn't fought since, and it's been a little more than 18 months.
Yep.
I think doubt creeps in, and then like so your next fight is you're fighting a guy who's way better or younger and submissions. I think this is a bad matchup for him. The one thing I will say is that Sabatini does not seem to have a big size advantage here. I think he's the relatively they were comparable, but I don't know if this is just a homer pick. I'm not even gonna spend a lot of time on this, but I got Sabatini sub. It dropped. I got it last night at plus 175. It's down to plus 140. So it's not awesome anymore, but I'm gonna I think you could also just play as round 1 and round 2 subs, and it bounces out to like I think the round 1 was plus 330 and round 2 was 600. So you could play them both and get some value. I think if it gets to the third, you're probably in trouble. If it gets to the third, there might have been a lot of stand up. And really, that's the only thing I worry about here is if Sabatini does struggle, because Laramie's no joke as a wrestler. He's a credentialed. I think he's decent, but I don't know. I think Sabatini is just the worst stylistic matchup for him, considering all the X factors around the fight. And I will say Laramie has lost 3 times in the first round out of his 4 losses. So
there you go.
Seems like that's the time to get them when they're dry. Sabatini can, hump them to death for all I care, but quit, submission by banging. But
would that be a yam bag submission?
That would be. I can't. I'm going to pull that piece of paper off it soon, so I can't. I don't want to use the prop too many times. I'm sure we're going to have to eat these.
Fuck that. Carrot Top is worked in Vegas for 20 years off that.
I know. Eric Betts Fights has to get him on his show. I told him I don't care if it's about MMA talk or anything. Just like you live in Vegas, just like I'm sure you could find Carrot Top, and it would not take long. I'm sure he's available. I feel like he's available.
He's got a big fucking red beacon on the side, on the top of his head.
Sabatini sub all day, and I will say before you cover the DraftKings end, I feel like he's probably going to be the most owned guy on the slate, if not the second most owned guy. He's going to be in the top 2, and but probably number 1 by a wide margin.
Yeah, he's going to be number 1 in my heart and in my DraftKings lineups for sure. In fact, the past few weeks, I've just been going over on a lot of these guys, like finding the right $9,000 players and just going way over the field on them. I'll be doing that exact thing on Sabatini. I'll probably have minimum 80%. Especially in 20 maxes, little, smaller tournaments, GPPs, maybe 70, but at least 80% in 20 maxes. He's 9,200, 4.02 points per minute. That's the pace he puts on. 92 points when he wins. So not a ton, but I do believe he finishes TJ Laramie here, and I think he can score pretty well. I think he's good for cash or GPP. He's only given up 1.64 points per minute. Sorry, I have a mustache here that's really bothering me.
It's bothering me too. Did he freeze? Did we lose him? I feel bad if the last thing you heard was me being mean.
0.64. Yeah, internet's out. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, everything just went out all of a sudden. All right, so you're still here. Okay.
I said only nice things. I said only nice things when you were gone.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't doubt it for 1 second. 1.64 points a minute is all he's given up. Laramie's given up 7.83. That's negligible, though. It was a first round finish, as Lou said. Long story short, give me Pat Sabatini in a ton of lineups. I won't have Laramie at all. If I need some salary relief, I will look elsewhere, maybe the $6,800 price point. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that one. We can move it along. An absolute barn burner here. Myra Bueno Silva going against Wu Yanan. I'll go ahead and start this one off Wu Yanan, I'm going to have 0% of pretty much. Maybe a little bit, actually, if I need salary relief. She did actually, in her one UFC win, she did score over 100 points. I believe that was against, Lauren Mueller, subbed her in the very first round. So while I don't expect that to happen, here, well, then I'm just talking myself out of it. I'm not going to roster any Wu Yunan. Myra Bueno Silva, I was going to have 0% of her as well, but I've kind of come around on that. I think Wu Yunan, I guess I don't know if she's going to be. It all depends on if I think she's going to get finished. Silva, not a great scorer per minute, 2 points a minute, ends up with 93 when she wins in her 2 wins here. So it's not a ton. She does give up 4.32 points a minute, however. So defensively, I do have some questions. But again, we're facing Wu Yunan, who just is not a good point per minute scorer. So give me, I guess, a little bit of Silva, but I'm going to have way, immensely more like Sabatini, more Budai, just a little bit of Silva possibly, for some variance, because I don't think she's going to be very highly owned, probably less than 15-20% if I had to guess. So what do you think about this one here?
Silva's an interesting leverage play, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm
way to go different. So Yunan has 12 wins. 10 of her opponents had no wins when they fought her.
Yeah, her strength of schedule is awful.
That's no bueno. I mean, look, you can't. I mean, I don't even like the money line as a play here. I saw Eric's betting Yunan Wu here, and yeah, I mean, he's my buddy, and I love him, but
my mom must have picked up the phone. That's why my internet went out.
I may never do Eric's show again once I saw that he took this bet. I may have to just retire.
Oh, I did see that as well.
I don't know where she's better. I mean, like, if she goes, anything she does, she's going to lose. If Silva's smart enough to get her to the ground, which again, she hasn't really shown that she's fight IQ is awesome. I don't think Yunan can hurt her. I don't know that Yunan can hurt her for 15, can do damage for 15 minutes and win a decision. I don't see where she can win. The problem is that there's no value on betting. So you're either faced with betting Silva and a win condition or not betting it. So the Silva in the distance is plus 165. That's awful value. So I pass. I can't bet this fight. I mean, I even, I got to come up with a bet for later, to impress Mr. Cop on his show later. But I'm like debating this round 2 sub as a crazy play, I guess, but I have no confidence in this at all. And Silva hasn't earned my confidence.
No, that's the thing.
Like, Yunan Wu's earned my confidence that she sucks. But I don't know.
That's where I'm sitting, because Silva does have some potential value because she's not going to be highly owned. But if she comes in and doesn't score any, she's way too expensive to make the optimal lineup scoring at 10x. She needs to get 110 points, in my opinion, at 9,300 to be able to make the optimal lineup. So if you're playing cash, that's one thing, but
I mean, if she's going for takedowns and she dominates for 2 rounds and gets a second round finish, she's going to get you there. But we haven't seen.
Yeah,
the only thing I can say,
attempted a takedown in the UFC.
I mean, look, Yunan Wu, she likes going for these body locks. She's not good at it, but what if she goes with one and then just they fall over, which is certainly in play. Because Silva's just stronger than her. What if she goes for one and then they go to the ground and that's the takedown?
Yep.
And then it's just game on. I mean, it's possible. There's nothing about Yunan Wu that I don't care. This could be, she could be plus 800. I wouldn't be interested. Brandon Jenkins to me is just such a better. Yeah, I like what Kristen's saying. This can be the not fight of the night.
100%.
Yeah, this is and before I sign off on this fight, Brady and I were talking earlier in the week, and he thinks this is a good candidate for, but not this one, because for a women's fight, I call it the no bags to be yammed play. But I can't even get there with this fight because it's so bad.
It is.
And I don't know why it's on the main card. I mean, I know it's a weird fight card, but this does not seem like not seem like a main card fight. But then again, look, what was the other fight with Cachoeira and
was it Rob? No, not Robertson. I can't remember who she fought
she
last.
just won, but
but
that was great. Everybody's like, why is this on the main card? That ended up being a great fight. So look, man, you never know, but I just it's
tough.
Yeah, I guess you could parlay her. I don't know.
Oof. Oof. Coco main event. Carmel Thunder, Miguel Baeza going against Andre Fiallo. Why don't you go ahead and keep us rolling with this one? Anything sticking out to you?
Yeah, I kind of went back and forth in this one, and then I may have flip-flopped again. But the one bet I've liked all week here is the fight to end in a KO at -115. I think everybody, I hear people talking that Baeza could go to the wrestling here. He's not going to go to the wrestling. It's not his style. And Fiallo, I think, is only, and I want to stress that I think Fiallo looks like Mr. Potato Head. He's a weird looking dude. If you play a fighting video game, he's the base. When you create a fighter, he's like base model. There's no hair. He has average height, his average weight, his average intelligence.
Yeah, exactly.
Average carpentry skills, bullfighting. He's average. He's like a 50 across the board. So Baeza is exciting. Baeza, look, the Ponzinibbio fight was really, really close. I could make an argument that Baeza won the fight. It's close when I've watched it back. I cannot make that same argument last fight. He got knocked out. So There's no argument that he won the fight. Fiallo, I don't want to compare this to them, but there's a parallel here. Fiallo, with the Moutinho Canetti fight. Okay. I know this sounds like a really weird jump I'm making. I was on Canetti round 1, and people were like, oh, but the whole narrative, well, Moutinho is really hard to knock out. No, he's not hard to knock out. Sean O'Malley couldn't knock him out.
Right.
But you look at his fight history, he's been knocked out. He's been knocked out. He's been knocked out. He's constantly knocked out in the first round. So people are looking at Fiallo right now and saying, well, Fajeda didn't get him out of there, especially on a short camp. Okay, great. So that's one fight. But his fight history suggests the guy's susceptible to be knocked out. And he wants to be in a firefight. So the knockout -115 is what I like. So with that, Baeza KO is +225. If he gets a sub, he gets a sub. Whatever. I'm going to play what I think is the best win condition. And then I have Baeza round 2 KO at +750. I think, and the reason I like round 2 here is I think there will be some kind of tentative period because Baeza, look, he's coming off the worst loss he's had in his life. So I think there's going to be a tentative period here. I think he's going to work his way back into the fight. And then I was talking before, when I was talking before with these guys, the one thing that is a very good point here is that Fiallo does not know how to check a leg kick. And Baeza could just tear him apart. He's a boxer. He's going to be in that stance. Shout out to Phoenix, by the way, because me and him argued about this one, but he just thinks that leg's getting chewed up. And the more I think about it with him, that leg, yeah, especially he doesn't have much. He's not a dynamic mover. He's not speedy. He stands there and he plods forward. So, yeah, I could see him maybe getting a switch here, maybe getting a switch stance as he chews up the lead leg. And I do love losing money on Baeza. So, maybe the third time's the charm here. But what do you got?
I have to see the ink. I don't remember whose is worse.
That's on my manifesto. My old betting manifesto. I've had a handicap a fight. Ink is. So first is the guy Brock Lesnar, and then it's chest hair. If a dude has a lot of chest hair, I'm all in. Yep. And then it's bad ink, and then it's nickname, and then it's nationality. Is the guy Samoan? Because I'm all right. And then if all of them are equal, you pass on the fight. So the bad ink is a factor here. I don't think. I don't know if either one really has a lot of ink at all.
Yeah, the next one, there's definitely a bad tattoo in there, or a great one, depending on how you look at things. But I just wanted to highlight something you said. Baeza throws the highest percentage of leg kicks out of all strikes thrown. 19% of all strikes he's thrown have been leg strikes. That is the highest in the welterweight division out of 83 fighters that I track. So I did just want to back you up there. I'm going to have to play a bunch of this fight, I think. Fiallo for the salary relief, obviously. And he did not score well against Fajeda. 1.33 points per minute is all he ended up with. Gave up 3.34. I'm gonna have to play Baeza, but I just don't like that $8,700 salary. It is difficult to make the optimal lineup unless you get a pretty early finish or a very good score of 110, 105, 110, something like that. And Baeza's average in 3 wins is just over 100. So there is some upside there. I do like the finish upside for both guys, so I'll have both rostered probably maybe close to 50-50 actually. I was going to say maybe a bit more Baeza, but I don't know if I can get to that much of him at $8,700. I might have to choose my spots pretty carefully. Maybe go like 40%, in like 20 max or something like that, 30 to 40% maybe. With about the same on Fiallo, I suppose. There's not too many good stats here from Fiallo. They both have pretty decent strength of schedules, both in the 70s, which I said earlier is a decent number. I mean, but both these guys coming off, or actually Baeza coming off 2 losses, and then Fiallo losing his UFC debut, as we discussed. I like this spot for Baeza. I don't think he drops 3 in a row, but at the same time, I don't think the UFC brings in guys so they can, lose 2-3 fights in a row. I don't think, we have the Contender Series for that. We don't need to be bringing guys in outside of that. So give me about the same exposure, pretty low, but I like Miguel Baeza to win. And if he gets it done by a finish, he's going to have to score well to make that optimal.
Somebody's going down in this fight.
I think so too, and that's why you just have to play both sides. You have to, and I haven't really said that about a ton of fights on this card, so that's one I feel comfortable saying it. This one I feel comfortable saying it as well, and probably the next one. So these next 2 fights and the last one are pretty much where a lot of my exposure is going to be for 3 spots in my lineup. We've got Caio Barayo going against Gadzhi, and I've been calling him Omargadzhiev, like I grew up next to him or some shit. I guess I'll call him Omargadzhiev if that's what you guys want me to say.
Would you like me to do it?
Just do it. I want to hear it roll off the tongue.
You want to hear it like just because for Bert?
Professional.
Caio Borralho fights Gadzhi Omargadzhiev.
I feel like Gadzhiev is definitely not it could be, but I like the little style. I was trying to put a little panache on it, you know what I'm saying? But hey, look, that's all right.
If you want to be the best, you got to learn from the best.
That's true. My dad told me that same thing.
Bert, you always have a spot here on the MMA Engine. Just
we know you're watching, Bert.
Don't listen to anything Brady says.
Caio Barayo going against Gadzhi. I'm just going to call him Gadzhi and save some time and syllables. 7,800 for Caio, I think, is probably one of my favorite salaries on the entire card this week, mixed with his potential, except for maybe the next fight. He's had 2 Dana White Contender Series fights, which I am tracking for now until he gets that official UFC debut under his belt. 4.37 points a minute. Fantastic pace. 96 points on average over those 2 wins. What more could you ask for? Gadzhi on the other side allowed only 0.32 points per minute in his Dana White Contender Series fight. Now, Caio Barayo is going to be much more well-rounded of an opponent than Gadzhi fought on that fight in Janzi Silva. So I do expect a much higher output from Barayo than 0.32 points a minute. I'm going to have to go with the dog here. I'm going to be playing both sides. I'm going to have more exposure to the dog for the high wrestling upside and the possible finish. Maybe not finish upside, but I just think even in cash, like either of these guys in a win is going to score pretty well, and neither of them are too high in salary to not make the optimal lineup by scoring 90 to 100 points. So give me both sides. I'm probably going to be a bit higher on Barayo because he is cheaper, but I love both these salaries. I like this fight. Gadzhi's got fantastic takedown and control time potential as well. In his first fight, what's this sum here? 2.47 points per minute in grappling alone. So, this is going to be a battle of who can set the pace, who can get that first takedown, and who can control the ground time. So I honestly don't know the answer to that question. I'm leaning Barayo, but I'm going to have to play both sides just to be safe and find out. What do you got for this one?
Okay, most important thing about this fight. If you call yourself a fight nerd and you have a neck tattoo, I feel like those should be mutually exclusive things. It's weird to have.
You live in a different world now, Lou.
Yeah, I don't know. This is where my old age is it's killing me. So I had been leaning Caio all week. I like what I've seen. I think that he has better striking. I think that he fights good. I think he's a smarter fighter. This is no insult on Gadzhi. Like, there's limited
right.
And then I did my show. I did a show earlier today, and one of the guys that's doing the show with, let's just say, passionately loves Caio here. He loves him to the point he has predicted the second and method the fight will end.
I heard that.
353 submission round 1. So he made a very compelling argument. Like I said, I've been on the Caio side all week, but now it just seals it for me. I think Caio in the distance plus 200 is a nice bet. I like Caio. It's a small dog price right now, whatever he is, plus 105. I'm not quite sure what he is right now.
Average 111 like 2 hours ago.
Okay. And then we're going to take a stab here on the Caio submission, which is plus 550. If he has, I mean, it's in play. I mean, his ground game's good. I mean, I know, yes, it's a Russian wrestler, like I understand it, but I'm gonna back the most compelling argument. I watched tape, I listened to people all week, and this was the most compelling thing I heard. I've never heard anybody say this is the exact second the fight's gonna end. Like, book it.
I respect it.
I'm not going against it, man. Shout out Phoenix. Like, you sold me on it. Like, I told him I'd give him props. Like, so shout out, bro.
Absolutely. I second that, man. Hey, he's got a lean, and that's the most the hardest lean I've ever heard. So I definitely respect that. I already talked about my shit, so we can actually just move it along. I was about to go into it. You want to hear me repeat some shit? Probably not. Main event, man. I'm excited for this one. I think Vicente Luque going against Belal Muhammad. I'll go ahead and start it just because I want your insight to kind of close this card out. Because I'm going to be all over this fight, almost 100% exposure, probably. I'm leaning Belal Muhammad, though, not only to get the win, but for the salary, 7,700. I mean, the takedown upside for Belal Muhammad, I don't have to tell you, is so fantastic that there's no way you cannot not play him. 3.54 points a minute, 88 points in a win, but in that Wonder Boy fight, and I know Stephen Thompson can't really do much on the ground, and obviously he prefers the karate style stand-up, blah, blah, blah. He scored 132 points in 3 rounds. That was a 3-round fight, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. I've had to check that like 4 times, and I still don't believe it. So yeah, 130 some in 3 rounds. Now, can he do that against Luque? At first, I was thinking definitely not, but Luque has a propensity to give up takedowns and control time, 0.82 points per minute, while Belal is putting up, 1.18 points a minute in grappling for DraftKings points. I like the Belal side. He only allows 2 points per minute defensively, and that's over 15 fights so far. So I absolutely love that. You're paying, I talk all the time about how much more a guy is than his average salary, blah, 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 and how much of a red flag that is. In this main event, Muhammad, $700 less than his average salary. He's coming off of a 132-point win. And then Vicente Luque, who we'll talk about really quickly, minus $285 less than his average salary, $8,500. Also a fantastic DraftKings score. That's why I have to play both sides. 3.62 points a minute for Luque, scores 107 when he wins. I mean, come on. I'll be at least 50, 55, 60% Muhammad, especially in like 20 maxes, maybe even a little more. But the rest of it is going to be, up to 95, maybe even 100% exposure. The rest of it will be filled in with Luque, because I think whoever wins is going to make the optimal, have a fantastic score. And at these salaries, you don't have to score 132 points to make optimal. You could do it at 110. So give me both sides. I like Muhammad to win. Give me the dog pick. I'm never on a lot of dogs. This week, I'm on quite a few dogs. What do you got for this one, Lou? How do you like this one to end up?
I'm big time on the Luque side here.
Nice.
There's a couple of reasons, and so the 2 biggest ones. One of them is, I think it's really hard. I respect Muhammad immensely for staying true to his religion during Ramadan. It's really hard to stay. Like, I mean, this Luque is no joke, man. I mean, I would want to be optimal. Every piece of fitness possible. So
I actually checked that, not to interrupt you, but to see if he has ever fought during Ramadan before. And if I'm sure he's been observing for years, but it was 2000. And when did he one fight he fought during Ramadan? If you'll just bear with me, he did win the fight. It was, let me find it. Chance Raconteur back in 2018 was right in the middle of Ramadan. He did win that fight pretty convincingly, it looked like. So he has done it once before, but that's it.
So if you look at Muhammad's win streak here, so Stephen Thompson, which sadly Stephen Thompson now kind of looks like a little bit of a shell of himself.
Yeah.
But if you look, Muhammad's never facing strikers. I mean, Damian
True.
Maia, not a striker. He faced Leon Edwards. Edwards owned him. I know it's a no contest, and I have no love for Leon Edwards. He's annoying. I don't care about watching him fight. But there was nothing in that fight that suggested that Belal Muhammad had any chance. Edwards was teeing off on him.
Yep.
So he faced the striker, that's what happens. Diego Lima, not with the company anymore.
Yep.
Canceled bout with Sean Brady would have been actually really interesting. Lyman Good. Did not think he won that fight. So
close.
Okay, but it's Lyman Good. Come on.
But yeah, exactly. Right.
And the last striker he fought before that was Jeff Neal, and he lost. He lost by decision. So the thing is this. Anytime he's facing striker, he does not do well. I would say Luque is a striker. Now, Luque's not a... Now, Luque gives up takedowns, and I think Muhammad can have some early success. I do not think this is a 1-minute knockout like the last time they fought.
I hope not. Jesus.
But Luque has no problem going... But Luque, all right, he gets taken down, but Luque is comfortable down there. I mean, is Muhammad smarter than Kianza? Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'll fall into some stupid trap. But I think Luque can hang, hold his own. It's not like Belal Muhammad inflicts a ton of damage on the ground either. And as Luque showed you in the Nico Price fight, like, dude can come out in the third with a sense of urgency and just let's go. Yep. So I'm on the Luque side here. In the distance, it's plus 110. I mean, honestly, if he wins the decision, I'd be kind of shocked. And if you like the Muhammad side, you bet his decision. I think it's plus 260. So that's great odds to do that. But I'm on Luque in the distance. And then I'm playing the round 3, round 4 prop. Now, I feel like looking back, I have played whoever I thought was going to win in the main event, the round 3, round 4 prop. I feel like I've played this every event this year.
Yeah.
I am 0 for the prop. So do not bet this prop. However, I'm now locked in at the point where the 1 week I don't, it's going to hit.
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
Doesn't mean the rest of you are.
The rest of you guys are fine. I'm screwed. So I like round 3, round 4. It's plus 600. I think there's an early feeling out. I think Muhammad could have some early success too. Like while they're not sweaty, I think he could have some sex. But
yeah, it's just
it's only a matter of time. Luque doesn't, honestly. Luque could be losing that fight the whole way until he wins it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be accumulated damage with him. So, and he looked good on the scale too. Like, Luque was, because, the last time he weighed in, I believe he was the stand-in for a title fight. And he missed weight.
That's right.
Usman Covington.
Yep.
All right. He looked good. I thought he looked good. He looked healthy. I'm on the Luque side all day here.
I like it. I don't mind it. I mean, I think it's as close to a 50-50 fight, maybe a little bit on the side of Luque. I just think for DraftKings, the takedown upside for Muhammad is too great to ignore. Luque also such a good score. Man, I might just be 50-50 on this fight, honestly. Maybe 55-45. I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm really hoping it's not another first round finish, unless it's Belal Muhammad. That's probably not going to happen though. But I am very much looking forward to this fight. And with that, Lou, we're done, baby. All 14 fights in the can, as they say. Why don't you actually first let me thank the chat. We really appreciate you guys sticking around, watching the happy hour with us. Thank you for spending your Friday afternoon / early evening with us. You still got time to feed those kids, man. Just throw a Lunchable at their head. They'll be fine. Take a little break before Brady starts off his show in about 40 minutes, or actually in about 20 minutes, it looks like. So thanks again for hitting that like, as I'm sure you did, and subscribing to the channel. We do appreciate that. Lou, where can they find you? What have you got going on?
Holy smokes. Well, usually I have a very lame answer for this, but
oh yeah, not today, baby.
Not tonight at 10 o'clock. I will be on the Narco Cop show, the Lambo show. It's going to be Narco, Tim Troiano, Uncle Weezy, and myself, or we give away plus 300 bets or higher.
Yeah, boy.
Narco
That's a hell of a lineup.
Narco sent me a message last night saying, I just want you to know you have to give away bets plus 300 or more in every fight. To which I responded, oh, clearly you've never watched any show I've done or talked to anybody in my that knows me, because you would realize this will not be an issue for me.
You must not have vetted me properly, sir.
Oh, and one more thing. I returning is the Holland Tunnel hand job parlay.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy's Johns.
Jimmy's Johns. Hey, thank you, Jimmy's Johns. We know you're watching. We really appreciate it.
So the whole idea of the parlay is it's a small investment to win $10,000 for the price of what a Holland Tunnel hand job would cost you.
would potentially, allegedly.
We're not lawyers here. I am not a lawyer. I'm no Barry Zuckercorn.
No.
So $7.60 will 66 cents will yield you $10,009. The 4-teamer is Boudet round 2, Boudet, tomato. Boudet round 2 plus 450. Sabatini round 1 sub plus 330. Baeza round 2 KO plus 750. Caio Borralho submission plus 550. That gets you plus 130,500.
And what does that make? 4? All you need is a thumb, baby. You got yourself a Holland Tunnel hand job.
One for the thumb. You're winning one for the thumb, Monk. So I'm on the Lambeau show tonight. Depending on how I feel after a long day of content, I am attempting to do a show at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, which is just a quick 20-minute primer about the line movement from open to Friday to Saturday morning when the overnights have come in. Over-under line movement.
Yes, sir.
Everybody looked in the scales. It was going to be a really easy report. There's only one guy really was questionable. And any other last-minute news, if you're up, you're having coffee, you're bored, you don't want to watch soccer, I'll be watching soccer while I do the show. So come watch it. I don't care.
So hear him yell goal a couple times if you're lucky.
And then and please follow the MMA Engine Twitter and YouTube channel. Last days, man, upgrading the server and last days until we launch, man. So I am so excited. I sent out a couple of screenshots the last couple of days of what is coming up, and I got people that I hadn't seen it. I'm really proud of it. So
nice, hell yeah! And
so
I'm super excited. So at that, I mean, I got nothing else. I mean, you can find me on YouTube. I do have a few shows out this week on my channel, MonkMMATics on YouTube. Go ahead, give me a like and a subscribe, guys. Just hit that over 200 subs mark. So let's keep it rolling. Let's get to 250. I would appreciate that. Other than that, that's about it. MMA Engine. That's all we've got going. Let's get it. We got a couple weeks away. We're going to be dropping content on you like hail falling from the sky. An unstoppable amount, an innumerable amount of content coming your way every week before every single UFC card. So be sure to like the video and subscribe to MMA Engine to never miss anything. And on that note, guys, as usual, I want all of you to enjoy the fights. So enjoy. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.